Hi everybody. So I'm going to show you how to do the isotope egg activity. So what isotopes are atoms that have different numbers of neutrons from each other. Okay, so that's the premise of what we're doing here. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be selecting in your lab groups 10 of these eggs randomly. It doesn't matter what color. If they have numbers on them, the numbers don't mean anything anymore, but you're going to select 10 of these eggs. These represent your atom. Okay, please note that all of these eggs excuse me, represent the same element, okay? So I've written that here. So they're all the same element. We're not playing with different elements. They're all the same, okay? And we're going to pretend we can crack the atom open, as seen. And we're going to look at what's inside, and you're going to see three things inside. So you're first going to see pennies that have a black mark on them, okay? So that's one of the things that you're going to see. You're also going to see pennies that don't have a mark on them. And then you're also going to see little plastic beads. So very small little colored plastic beads. Okay, so three things in there, okay? And that correlates down here. So the first thing you're gonna be doing is filling out this section. Okay, so you're gonna dump out your atom and you're gonna count the number of regular pennies. So for my little example here, let's see here. I happen to have 5 regular pennies. Okay, so I've counted up the total regular pennies with no black marks on them, and that would go here. My egg 1, my first egg, has 5 regular pennies. Then I'm going to do the same thing with my black pennies. So I count here, and it just so happens that this egg will have 5 black pennies. And remember, not all these are going to be the same. This is just one egg example, okay? And then I'm going to count my total number of beads. And for this one here, can't really show them on camera because they're all so small, but I've got 5 different plastic beads. Whoa, I think I just dropped one. So there's 5 there. And then it's asking for mass, and we're calling it grams, but it's not going to be really grams. I want you to think about, of these 3 things, of the black pennies, the regular pennies, and the beads, if you had to choose 2 of them that have mass and 2 of them that do not, hopefully logically you can figure out that these 2 have mass, and relative to them, the bead does not have mass. That's going to relate to what we think are protons, electrons, and neutrons. Based on your other research, which ones of those have mass? Protons, electrons, and neutrons. Some of them do, some of them don't. You're trying to figure that out. Okay, so I'm going to add up the 2 that have masses, which is my black pennies and my regular pennies. So I see 5 and 5, so my total mass is 10. Okay, so in terms of collecting data, it's really that easy. What I do suggest is that make sure you line up your eggs. Don't just go willy-nilly, because I'm going to come around and look at your data, or whoever's covering me is going to do that. And if you have wrong data, if you have your eggs lined up, I can be like, hey, recount egg 2. Sometimes other classes drop beads like I just did, and they don't replace them, and so it's going to mess up your numbers and things like that. So please keep them in line so you know which one is egg 1, egg 2, etc. I can check your data. Once your data is checked, you can go forward with the next step. So I'm going to show you that. I'm just going to put in some fake data here really fast, okay? Let's see. Ooh, that won't work. I'm just putting in fake data. Your data may differ from mine. Ugh, okay, really? Okay. And then I'm going to then fill in. So I'm going to pause it for a second. I'm just going to fill in my data really fast, not to not slow you down. Okay, so I've filled in the data there for my, and again, this is just my example data. Your data is going to look different than mine. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to fill in the numbers above. So what it says is, what is your smallest egg mass? Well, if I look at my egg masses, the smallest number that I see here is 10. So I'm going to record that above here. And then it says, how many eggs with that mass are there? Well, how many eggs with 10 do I see? I see only 1 egg with 10. That's what I put there. What's your next largest egg mass, if applicable? Because some of us will have different eggs. Maybe some of you guys will have all the same. But I see that my next largest egg mass is 11. So I'm going to plug that in. And then again, it says, how many do I have? Well, let's count how many I have with 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 11s. And lastly, if you have another largest egg mass, what is it? It's 12. And I'm going to count how many eggs I have that have 12. I see 3. Cool. Once I have that, I need to input my masses and amounts from above here. So you click on the blue link. You try to click on the blue link. And you're going to plug in your data, okay? So I have an example there with wildly different numbers. You're going to find your period and your table number, okay? So let's say this is me. We can fill in our names. I'm not used to typing that in yet because that's my new last name. Okay, so my smallest egg mass was 10. Okay, I'm going to plug that in. Notice that the color red, don't mess with the color red. It's going to do something for you. I have some 10s and some 11s and some 12s. So I'm recording those. You might not have that. Remember, it's okay if you don't. And then I need to go back and look at my data. How many 10s and 11s and 12s did I have? So I had 1, 6, and 3 respectively. So I'm going to plug in a 1 here, a 6 here, and a 3 here. Now what you should see it doing is populating numbers in the red area. Remember, you don't change the numbers or the codes. There's a formula I've put in, so please don't manipulate that. It's going to give you wrong answers. Okay, you should see numbers going into the red thing. Okay, right, so when I say, or when my substitute says, you're going to add up F2, J2, N2. This is going to be the average for all of our data, but that's why you need to wait until I tell you, because if you do it early, you're going to get the wrong average, and this is what I mean by that. So here is F, and here is 2. This is going to be the average of all the data below. Okay, so F2, which is 0.1, and then J2, which is 0.66, and then N2, which is 0.36. All of those numbers are going to be wrong right now because I have a whole bunch of zeros in here as placeholders until people fill in data. So if you add those 3 numbers right now, it's going to be vastly wrong. Okay, so just know that eventually you're going to do F average, J average, and N average, okay? That's the F2 and the J2 and the N2, okay? So you will eventually do that when I tell you. Please don't do it early because you'll get the wrong answer, okay? So you're kind of holding off for number 8, but today you should be able to complete 1 through 7 and, of course, the data table itself, okay? Thank you so much.